Hey, you guys. Hey, everyone. Welcome back. I had to push the stream back just a little bit because right before I was set to go live, I realized that a video was actually released of Ryan in court today. So I wanted to hurry up and record that video and upload it to where I could show it to you guys. Normally, I try to tweak a few things so it falls under fair use. I do believe that things such as like body cam footage is always like open to the public. Once it's out, it's out. Nobody owns that copyright. Anybody can play it. I'm not exactly sure about the footage from him in court today. It looks like someone snuck that because a lot of times cameras are not allowed into court. Either way, there is footage of him in court today. Ryan Edwards standing up there in front of the judge that is apparently a close family friend to the Edwards family. Let's go ahead. We're going to get into we're going to first, we need to roll the intro, and then we'll get into discussing what happened today at his court appearance. So let's roll the intro and then we'll discuss. Okay, you guys, so welcome back to the channel. There are several articles coming out about what took place today in court. Now, I want to start this off with a trigger warning. We're going to be talking about substance abuse. We're going to be talking about um, DV, overdosing, things of that nature. If that's something that you find triggering and you need to skip this one, I completely understand. All right, so let's get into it, you guys. So, Ryan Edwards, who is 35 years old, he appeared in Hamilton County Court in front of Judge Gary Starnes today after being placed in jail on no bond with no bond since April 7th. So that's when he was arrested, April 7th. So it's being reported that Ryan has been sentenced to 11 months and 29 days, which is, I mean, that's a year. Ryan walked into the courtroom wearing an orange jumpsuit and in handcuffs. His hair was disheveled and he appeared downcast and tired. Ryan seemed anxious while waiting to be called up by the judge. He shook his legs nervously and fidgeted throughout the hearing. He was called up and spoke to the judge regarding the two new possession of a controlled substance and the new DUI charges, as well as the previous two harassment and possession of controlled substance charges. So that's actually why he was here today, was over the harassment and possession of controlled substance. Since that arrest, he's gotten in more trouble though. Ryan's attorney said Mr. Edwards concedes that he did violate his probation. The lawyer for the state said it appears Mr. Edwards would have violated probation by leaving the rehab treatment facility early. Mr. Edwards picked up two new criminal charges for the court, given part of the probation violation is these new charges. He's conceding the violation. Judge Starnes said Ryan was supposed to be in Austin, Texas. He was admitted on March 16th and was discharged on April 3rd. The state's attorney called an officer to take the stand. The officer said on April 7th, he says, I was dispatched for a white male in a white pickup truck who was unconscious and unresponsive. The vehicle was in was still running, was in drive. The officer said the truck rolled into a curb on the driver's side. The curb stopped the vehicle. It was just Mr. Edwards. He was unconscious and unresponsive. Fire was there. They were using a lockout kit to gain entry to the vehicle. He did not regain consciousness until he was put into medical, meaning the ambulance, and was administered Narcan. There were two small baggies on Mr. Edwards, a white blue powder and a crystal substance. The lawyer for the state then said, this court is used to seeing probation violations. This defendant received a lenient break from this court in my office back in March. He was given the opportunity for the second or third time to pursue rehab. He has a drug problem. He had an opportunity to pursue rehab, but he failed to do that. He was there for 2 weeks. He left the facility contradictory to the staff's advisement. The staff was trying to keep him there. He was ordered to be there for 45 days. He left anyways. He somehow got back to Chattanooga. Then, just a block from the courthouse, was so under the influence in his vehicle that he passed out and ran into the curb. He could have hit people. He's a danger to himself and to the public. His option is to get clean or to die. There will be a request for more rehab. The opportunity he has squandered away. That is disrespectful to the court and makes a mockery out of us. Then she recommended the 11 months and the 29 days in prison. Ryan's lawyer said Ryan is addicted to drugs. We all know there is a good person deep inside there wanting to get out. That person is hammered deep down because of these drugs. We all want the best for him and the community. We ask at some point, not today, but after Ryan receives sufficient time to be punished and to think about what he's done, to consider an alternative. We are all disappointed. This is a small town. We all know each other. We all know him. We want him to get better. There's a unique treatment option. I'm not asking the court to suspend his sentence. So they're going to bring up a treatment option that they want to look into later down the line. So they call up the director of court services, who then recommended that Ryan receive monthly shots and attend a 2-year program. So they're saying, we're not asking for this like right now, but we are asking. Sorry, my shirt's button kind of gap right here. But they are saying, listen, we want him to get his punishment now for what that's going to be. But at the end of the day, he is an addict, and we want him to get treatment for that. And obviously, us sending him to rehab and trusting him to go and stay the full length of time, he's not going to do that. So we have to take more drastic measures. She then said he would go into a residential. This is their proposal, that Ryan would go into a residential program, and at some point he would get a once a month shot. This shot curbs cravings. This shot curbs his cravings for drugs. So that, coupled with treatment, they are hoping this will help Ryan. They say that the shot itself is not going to be enough, that he needs the shot as well as treatment to be in the residential program. They then say, Ryan says he will do it. He will go in and he will stay at our facility. After that, they step down into a halfway house, a separate living home. They do counseling there for 2 years. After that, that's when the judge spoke directly, to Ryan and about Ryan. He said, we all know Mr. Edwards and his family. He is a very fine young man. He's very talented at what he does. We have all watched him grow up, and I know he is not a bad person. He's just got addicted to hardcore drugs. The judge continues by saying, Ryan is an extreme danger to himself. He died on Broad Street and had to be brought back to life. You would have been dead. You realize that, right? You're a danger to the public by driving that truck on drugs. The judge then says, rehab won't be good because you're not going to do it. You need to grow up, and you know that. You have 3 kids. You may have some problems with your wife, but you also have 3 kids. I'm trying to save your life, Ryan. So I'm going to revoke probation for 11 months and 29 days in custody. At some point, I may send you to rehab. I'm not going to do it now, though. That's because the drug addiction is too strong and you can't do it. You have to grow up and want to save yourself. I'm going to do what I can to save you. If you come across someone with drugs at Silverdale, which is the facility he's sending him to, I believe, stay away from them. Ryan is due back in court on June 12th for the other charges. Now, during this hearing, Ryan's parents, Jen and Larry, they were there, and it is being speculated that they were there hoping that he would get bond so they could bond him out. They were there when Ryan walked in. They got really emotional seeing him in the orange jumpsuit as well as with handcuffs. Ryan's estranged wife, Mackenzie, was also there, but she did not sit with Larry and Jen. MTV cameras were not in the room. Now we're going to go ahead. We're going to watch this. It's also being reported that Jen and Larry tried to talk to Mackenzie. That's also being reported, and she would not talk to them, and that also caused Jen to get upset.
There were two small baggies on the trip. Person.
Do you guys hear that? There were two small baggies on the trip we had in person. Normally I try to add closed captioning so we could be certain for what they're saying, but I did not have time because I saw this right before I went live. Okay.
One contained a white blue powder and the other contained a crystal substance.
On this day, were there other people and vehicles in the vicinity of 400 Broad Street?
That's correct. Well, the only announcement straight on the report, a white male in a white pickup truck, unconscious and unresponsive.
And when you, did you in fact go to that scene?
I did.
And what condition was the vehicle in and what condition was the driver?
The vehicle was running, it was in drive, the truck had rolled into the curb on the driver's side. Right?
Was the curb what had seemed to stop the vehicle?
It was,
And how many people were in that vehicle?
just one,
And who was that?
just Mr. Edward.
And
Okay, so I don't know if you guys could hear it really quickly. Yeah, I'm willing to bet it was someone for the Sun. Their name is on it, so either they were there and they got permission. Maybe they may have got permission to come in as media and film. I'm willing to think maybe they had to have, because I know someone that works for the Sun, and I don't think they're going to come in there and break the rules by filming this. So more than likely they got permission, or someone else was in there, filmed it, and sold it to the Sun. Either way, y'all know what I'm shocked by? I don't know. I've always heard that like certain drugs are super hard to get off of. He doesn't look like he's like withdrawing or like feeling miserable. He looks nervous. Kind of fidgety. But he doesn't necessarily look like he's in like hardcore withdrawal. Looks a little confused. Yeah. He has been there for a while, so maybe he's over the tough part of the withdrawals. I don't know. Let me show you guys some of the pictures because there's also a picture of Mackenzie leaving. All right, let's see. And like I said, Jen and Larry tried to talk to her allegedly, and she would not speak to them, and that caused Jen to get emotional. It may not be this one. Is it this one? Is that the same one that we were just on? I think it's the same one. What? Okay. All right, give me a second. It's going to be this one. You guys, please like the video if you haven't yet. It really helps me in the YouTube algorithm. Also, I've been seeing new people here the last few streams. And if you are not subscribed to the channel, I would love if you consider subscribing. I would love to have you as part of my channel. Okay, so, all right. Ryan appeared in Hamilton County Court in front of Judge Gary Starnes on April 20th regarding the 2 new possessions of controlled substance and DUI charges, as well as the previous 2 harassment and simple possession counts. So there he is right there. Also, I didn't know he had all these tattoos. Maybe I did. I don't know. It seems like they look maybe, I don't know, new. There's Mackenzie leaving. Okay, so they entered the courtroom just as the hearing began, sat in the back row. U.S. reporter on the scene said they appeared emotional and upset throughout the hearing. Mackenzie walked into the hearing and sat away from her in-laws that she was once close to. Mackenzie's interest prompted Jenna Larry to leave the courtroom for about 10 minutes. When they returned, she was visibly crying as they sat back down on their seats. When the hearing was over, Jenna Larry left first, while Mackenzie left and did not interact with them. Ryan was sentenced to 11 months, 21 days. And then it just kind of goes over exactly what was. Thank you so much, Haley. I think it was on the Ashley's report that I saw. I think it was the Ashley's report that said that they tried to talk to her and she would not talk to them. Well, even this title, look at that title. Teen Mom star Ryan Edwards' mom, Jen, cries and runs out of the courtroom when son's ex-wife, Mackenzie, avoids her at hearing. Either way, it's really sad. And, here's the thing. This judge is allegedly a family friend. He's been really lenient with Ryan Edwards to the point to like he even told Ryan, you died on Broad Street the other day. Had they not got to you in time, you would be dead. But I'm also like, Judge, you've given him 50, 11 chances. How would you feel? I don't know, like now are you understanding the gravity of the situation, Judge Starnes? That you have let this man off, let him off, let him off, let him off, let him off. Are you understanding that if he would have been dead the other day, of course, he's the one with the addiction, but you are the judge that has handled and presided over all of his cases. It is your duty to do better. It's his duty. And he's let Ryan off so many times because they are family friends. Parker says that is a conflict of interest. The judge shouldn't have been able to be on the case since he knew him in the family. I don't know how big Hamilton County is, but I know where we live, there's only one judge. And I had a problem like this that kind of happened with me, where my older kid's father, my story is almost identical to Macy with Ryan and Chelsea with Adam. My baby's father come from a family that was well off, that enabled him, and he suffered with his demons, and he went through. There's times where we get along great, and there's times where we don't. It really just kind of depends on where he's at in his life, if he's going to get along with me. But there was a time where I had to get a restraining order on him, and we only have one judge, and the judge at first denied it. When I first initially filed for it, the judge denied it, and the lady, the victim's advocate lady that helped me do it, was shocked. She's like, I've been helping victims of DV get restraining orders for 3 years, and I've never seen the judge deny one. This is the first time that I've seen him deny one. And I said, well, he's friends with my baby daddy's parents, and he knows my baby daddy really well. And she goes, well, I guess that would be why, because I've never seen it happen. Thankfully, when you file for a RO, even if it's denied, you do get a court date where you can come in and you can kind of plead your case on why you need one. And I was able to do that. And I brought in a stack of, papers and text messages, to kind of prove my point. And I was given the RO. But that's just kind of the way that it was. Myself as well, I'm like, this is a conflict of interest. Like, we need to pull in another judge from somewhere. But small counties or small parishes, normally they're not going to pull a judge from 35, 40 minutes away to come to their area for one case. So you're stuck with the judge that knows the family handling your case. Either way, the fact that Mackenzie came in, she didn't sit with them. Wow, it looked like fireworks. It sounded like fireworks just went off outside my office. Anyways, the fact that she did not sit with them and she left without talking to them, I really think Mackenzie is done. I really think she's to the point where she's like, I can't do anymore. I can't do this. Like, I think she is done. She's cut her losses, I hope. It is sad that she was there by herself, because Mackenzie is definitely gonna need some support throughout the situation. At the end of the day, all that Ryan may be, I hope he gets his act together. I hope the judge sees the severity of the situation now, and maybe he can sit back and say, "You know what? That those are my friends, but I also wanna save my friends the heartache of having to bury their child. So I'm gonna have to be rough this time, and I'm gonna have to stick it to Ryan this time to make sure he doesn't end up dead." And maybe the judge could sit Jen and Larry down and say, "Listen, he almost died. If it wouldn't have been for medical getting to him when they did, he would have died. I have a duty, I have a civil duty to do better and to try to keep this from happening. So I am trying to make sure you don't have to bury your son. So I'm going to be rough on him. I'm going to sentence him to X, Y, and Z, blah, da, da, da. And if Jen and Larry can't understand that, it is what it is. It is what it is. Sherry, oh God, if there was a rehab for denial, both Jen and Larry Dish, I agree. He is going to jail. He is going to jail. So he was sentenced to a year in jail. And after that, he will go into, they want to put him into a program, like a sober living type situation, from my understanding, where he will get a shot once a day, or maybe it's once a month shot that um, will crave his appetite for drugs, I guess you could say. Oh, wow, Cynthia, thank you for saying that. I live in Chattanooga. We have more than one judge. Ryan got in trouble a lot in Red Bank. Different court system than the one he is at now. From my understanding, the judge that he normally sees is the judge that, and no, it must have been the judge that he saw today has to be the family friend judge by the way that he spoke to me. Yes, it's like a detox program, from my understanding. So he will get a shot. And from my understanding, these shots, when you take them, if you do drugs while you're taking the shot, it makes you like super ill. So this may be the only way. I mean, I know people who have had to take things like Subutex, Suboxone, Methadone to overcome their addiction. And it's worked for people that I know. So I'm gonna cross my fingers, because at the end of the day, I can sit here and I can kind of bash Ryan if I wanted to, but at the end of the day, he is a human being as well. He deserves to live. He deserves to have a life worth living, and he has children that need to have a father in their life. So, yes, he did have court order rehab, and he left. Yep. Um. Well, when the cops got to him after he left, he was arrested. Absolutely foxy, Bridget. So he is the only child. Ryan is an adult now. He makes his own choices, but Jenna Larry has crippled him, probably not meaning to. Larry is hard headed too. Yes. They should all go to Al Anon. I know Dr. Drew has talked to them about Al Anon at many reunions and said, y'all need to get in with Al Anon. Y'all need to get in with Al Anon. And I do want to say, at one of the reunions, Ryan said that he was on like Subutex or Suboxone. Oh, agreed, Linda. He does deserve to live, but she does not deserve what he's doing to Mac and the kids. He is very sick. Absolutely. Absolutely. How does the detox program work if he is in jail? Okay, this is from what I know about it. Um, so I have someone that I know that was really heavily on drugs and got arrested. And basically, you just have to sit in there and go through withdrawals unless you're getting super ill. They will do things like take your blood pressure and stuff like that. And so you're left to just kind of go through withdrawals. They'll put you in a cell by yourself most of the time, but they'll keep a good check on you. And if you start exhibiting like getting super sick, or like they'll take your blood pressure. If your blood pressure is like increasing, they may take you to the hospital. I do know a man that because he was withdrawing and his blood pressure got really high, he was taken to a hospital where he then was like medically detoxed. They put him on an IV, gave him medications to kind of help him go through with detox him. And then after he got through it, he went back to jail. Razor blade revenge. I'm on it, methadone right now. It completely blocks any high you get from drugs. People that OD all the time taking it because they keep taking pills trying to get high on OD. Oh wow. Hmm. Wow. Yes. Yes, Cassie, that's what it is. It's something that you take because once you take it, it blocks. Okay, so once you take it, it's supposed to curb your cravings so you don't crave the drugs anymore. But even if you were to take them, it blocks the effects of them. So, say you take your medicine and you're like, you know what, I'm still going to take whatever because even though I'm not craving it, I want to get high, whatever. So you take it, but then you don't feel it at all. Sometimes it'll even make you sick, from my understanding. So, um, I work in a state prison here. None of our prisoners do the shots for detox. We have places that will do that after release. All right. So, from my understanding, he will not do the shots until after he spends his year in the facility. They're saying right now we know he's going to face his punishment. He's going to get some jail time, but after jail time, they want him to go into a like sober living program in a facility where he would take the shot. From my understanding, I've heard that brown bear jamboree. I've heard that it's very painful. That's why I was looking at Ryan thinking he looks fine. He doesn't look like he's like coming off H. So it's like a drug diet pill. Guess you could kind of reference it, I guess. I know people that their lives was saved with like methadone and Subutex. So I literally know people that they got their lives back in order, and then they were able to get off that. What's the difference between jail and prison? So jail is more like county. Honestly, I'm going to look it up so I can give you the correct definition. Well, jail is for short term. Prison is for long term. Okay. The words jail and prison are sometimes used interchangeably, but they can imply different things. Commonly held distinctions relate to the size of the facility or how long someone will be held there. A jail is the place for the purpose of imprisoning, holding someone, typically someone who has been convicted of a minor offense, or someone who is awaiting trial for the crime they were accused of having committed, or someone who is awaiting a transfer to another detention facility. The word jail implies the period of incarceration, imprisonment, or confinement. That it implies it is relatively short, and that the facility itself is somewhat small, perhaps only having a handful of cells. Handful of cells. Such facilities are often used below the level of a state or federal facility, such as a county jail. The word jail is also likely to be used in reference to even smaller facilities, such as the cells at the local police station. Okay. Prison is also a place where people are incarcerated, but the word usually implies a larger facility for those serving longer term sentences. A prison is also a place, nope, I just read that one. In the US, state and federal facilities are usually called prisons, as in state prison or federal prison. The phrase in prison usually specifically indicates that a person is in such a facility as opposed to being generally incarcerated, as it is usually indicated by the phrase jail. How big it is and how long they're going to be there is basically the difference. Jamie's life says my life was saved with subtext. I was doing terrible things and it saved my life. I've heard that. Okay. Anyways, you guys, I wanted to make sure I showed you guys him there today and just kind of discuss what took place. Is there any chance of him getting an early release? I don't think so. I think he is definitely going to be there. He is definitely going to be there for a year, I would imagine. I don't see any possibility of him getting out early. Not going to bash Ryan. He is a human, deserves a chance to at least have time to work through his addiction without his enablers around. I really hope, without the drugs in his system, he takes a step back and he looks at it and goes, holy crap, look what I've done. I've made a mess of my life. The writing's on the wall that he did. He's blaming Mackenzie. Look what you did to our kids. How dare you break our kids' hearts? And it's like, dude, you just destroyed their home. Like you destroyed the family. You destroyed their home in one day. And you're blaming her? I don't think for a second she cheated on him. I think he got heavily back on drugs and he got super paranoid. So Ryan needs accountability. He's gotten away with so much. Finally, jail time might save his life. Yeah, definitely needs jail time. I do not know if Mackenzie and Macy speak. I'm not sure. But anyways, you guys, I wanted to give you an update on that. Him in jail. Someone was there with a camera. He looked fine though. Like he looked good. Ryan's, had moments where he's looked really nice looking and had other moments where he didn't look that great. And even the fact that he's going through all that he's going through, he looked good. His parents were there. And Mackenzie was there too. And according to the reports that I read, he never looked back and made eye contact with Mackenzie. I think he did look back and make eye contact with his parents. Macy is not separated. Macy is still with Taylor, living happily ever after. But you guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'm going to continue to keep up with this, you guys. If any more body cam comes out, I'm actually waiting for the body cam from the OD. I feel like somebody's going to pull that next. So I would not be shocked if that came out within the next few days. And if it does, that'll be something that we cover here on this channel. So if you're interested in keeping up with this story, Mackenzie and Ryan, and going over all the body cam that does come out, please consider subscribing to the channel. I would love to have you as a part of this channel. Give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys back here later. Goodbye, everyone.